throughout all this, like rebuilding yourself, if you have like specific things that you can say that really helped you,
achieve that.
Yeah.
I mean, number one, hands down, I will always say, I am a proud member of Narcotics Anonymous and also Alcoholics Anonymous. I mean, it's an anonymous program, but I can break my own anonymity and just say that, like, it has helped me immensely. I went into that room very broken, a room being a meeting room, but just generally claiming my seat in the program of recovery of a 12-step program. I was very, very broken, and it is a community of people that can relate in their own ways, but completely understand the feeling of self-hatred and loathing and loneliness. The loneliness that you feel when you're coming from that place. And they see you. And you don't have to explain yourself, or defend yourself or justify your actions. Instead, actually, it calls upon you to be really honest. So like if you did some fucked up shitty things, there's a whole step on that so that you can take accountability and make amends. So that is the number one thing. And in that, it talks about, loving self and, the community of people around you loving you until you know how to do that. And there's just, I won't go into the whole thing, but it's a great program. And it is not just the foundation of my life today, but I work that program, and that program works in my life every single day, in a really intentional way. And then in a sort of divine way sometimes, blows my mind. Therapy. I would say that yes, doing my own practice on the mat and all of that, like that gave me something for me, but to understand how to really translate it and even start to like expand on how a yoga practice, because it's all related for me, can be so powerful. It's like what comes up for me in those moments, now what do I do? Right? And so it almost is like this, like a circle where like, yoga went into therapy for me, therapy went back into yoga. And what I mean by that is that there's talk therapy, but there's also like somatics. And so really understanding what sensations are happening in the body and being able to like feel them and explain them. And I don't mean like I feel angry or I feel sad, because that is one way of saying how you feel, but how about like, where do you feel the anger? Okay, I feel it in my throat. What does it feel like? It's constricting. It feels kind of pinchy also up, and then down it feels more like pressure. So like just giving that as an example, like having that language has helped me so much in also being able to then come into a room and teach a class and communicate what it is I'm actually trying to offer as an experience, or invite my students in to experience. There's some books that I highly recommend, like Pima Children is a beautiful book. When Women Were Birds is another incredible book. I read a lot of poetry, which is something that kind of, I think it just, sometimes there's like the breaking it down way in like a novel or like the practices, but then when you read poetry, again, it evokes some kind of like emotion, which then is another way of being like, oh wow, this, this makes me feel something. And then, I could go on about Gabor Mate all day long. Another incredible book, and I wish I could think of the author right now, but I can always remember the title of the book, which is The Body Keeps Score. Yeah, and it is the first, hopefully I quoted that right, but I just put that out there because it's the first book that, more scientifically, but it actually broke down like what was happening for me and why, you know, so that I could stop being like, you know, I always imagined myself back in the day being like, don't do that, like, stop doing that, you know. But like, how many times have we all done that? And like, but at the same time, like, there's some part of it that's like out of your control. There's practices to help take back the control and have more choice in those trauma responses. But if we don't understand that it's a trauma response, like there's something actually anatomically happening, so that then we know what the tools are that we each individually need to then start rewiring our brains, we're just going to keep banging our heads, you know, going, it's my fault, it's my fault. It's not that it isn't someone's fault, it's just like there's other care that can go into making a change. Yeah.